no idea that, the things that I was eating growing up wasn't great. I didn't grow up on a lot of vegetables.
Hello, Dr. Nelson. It is truly a pleasure to have you here for our 15 Between discussion. I'm going to let you kick things off. If you could just do us a huge favor and introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your background just to kind of get us started, I would truly appreciate that.
Sure. Hi, thanks for having me on. So as you stated, I'm Dr. Nelson. I'm a naturopathic doctor, expert in natural medicine, postpartum specialist, and best-selling author. I am based here in Atlanta, Georgia. I own a medical practice in Sandy Springs where I see women and children in my practice. My practice is Healthy Lifestyle Wellness Center. I have been in practice since 2019, but I've been practicing as a naturopathic doctor since 2017.
Nelson, can you give us a definition or define naturopathic doctor and how that compares to a conventional or traditional doctor? What's the difference?
Of course. So there's a lot of similarities and a lot of things that are different. So just for starters, a doctor in general, so a conventional doctor versus a naturopathic doctor, we both go to medical school. We both medical schools are 4 years long. We do have the basic sciences, just like a conventional doctor. The difference is the last 2 years. So last 2 years of a naturopathic doctor, we go out, we don't go to the hospital. We go out into clinics in the area or at the school clinic, and we actually practice natural medicine. We learn a variety of modalities. And so some of those may include botanical medicine, homeopathy, nutrition, hydrotherapy. We learn IVs, acupuncture, cupping. Our toolbox is completely filled with a lot of stuff. So we also learn conventional medicine too. So we learn pharmacology as well, because a lot of our patients are going to come from conventional medicine over to us. So we need to know what we're dealing with. We need to know what medications they're on, so that we can be able to treat them.
Okay.
And then the other part of your question, defining naturopathic medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So naturopathic medicine, it's an integrative approach.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that we are known for is getting to the root cause. And so just to kind of talk about that for a bit, I like to give the analogy of grass. Think of like grass on the front of your house or in the back, wherever you have grass. And so one way to think about it is if you mow the lawn, every week it's going to come back. You mow it this week, next week it's going to grow back. It's going to keep growing back. But if you pull the grass from the root, it will never return. It's gone. You have to plant another seed, right? And so I give that analogy in relationship to our health. So if we, treat the surface, if we just put a Band-Aid on it, it's going to come back. Maybe not in that form, but possibly in another way. But if we get to the root, we fix the issue. We deal with what is the reason why you're even sick to begin with, and figure out what that is. Once we fix that, we fix the problem. So we look at it like that, getting to the root cause, which is huge for naturopathic doctors, huge for patients too. It's like, what is the reason kind of thing. So getting to the root cause is super, super huge. Prevention's really big with us. We definitely believe in diet. I can go on and on and on about it, but I think that pretty much answers your question.
Yeah, and that was a very good analogy. And I really appreciate you giving that example. And I know you mentioned that with your schooling as a naturopathic doctor, you mentioned that there's a focus on nutrition. So how much of a focus is there on nutrition? Would you compare that to maybe a conventional or traditional doctor would receive?
Yes, so most conventional medical schools, if at all, get very little amount of nutrition education. My sister's a medical doctor, so we definitely have often talked about that quite in length. They don't get a lot of nutrition. We actually start nutrition year one. So we have 4 years of
Wow.
learning nutrition from the very beginning, very much dissecting it, whether it's different types of diets that are important for certain medical conditions, down to how to read a supplement. We are experts in natural medicine, meaning if you bring me a supplement, I'm going to tell you, oh, and this has, a bunch of junk in it, or you want to make sure when you're looking for a supplement, this is where you want to purchase it. You don't want to go there. And I'm educating patients, look on the back. If it has this, this, and this, and you want to stay away from that. So learning pretty much what nutrients your body needs to survive, to be at optimal levels. All of that kind of stuff. Like I said, diet is huge. Diet helps prevent many health conditions, many health conditions.
Actually started you on this path? I know a lot of times you may get a question like, what started you down this journey, but I'm curious as to what started you up this journey and becoming a naturopathic doctor.
Yes, I get asked that question a lot. And so for me specifically, I was pregnant with my first son. I have 3 now, but I was pregnant with my first son, and being pregnant with him changed my thought process, changed my mind about a lot of things. It made me question a lot of things in my life, what I was doing in my family. There's a lot of medical conditions that ran in my family. There's a lot of cancer, a lot of diabetes, a lot of high blood pressure, which is common in most Black families.
Yeah.
And when I was pregnant with my son, I said, I don't want those things for him. I don't want those things for me. What is it that I can do differently? Maybe if I change something, then the outlook of my health and my child's health can be different. So that led me to start researching, diets. I had no idea that, the things that I was eating growing up wasn't great. I didn't grow up on a lot of vegetables, meat and potatoes,
Mhm.
a salad here and there, or, broccoli or potato or something like that. But I didn't grow up on a lot of vegetables, and I didn't even know vegetables were important. This was a learning curve for me. And so when I began to research all of that, and I began to research, oh, so you mean that I don't have to pop a Tylenol for a headache? What? And I don't have to take Pepto-Bismol if my stomach hurt. I can do some essential oils. I can take a herb. I was like, what? Like, it really blew my mind. And so from there, I was like, you know what? If I do this, then maybe I can change something in the generations that come through me. And so from there, my husband and I, we were like, you know what? We are going to change our diet. We're going to stop eating meat. I was at an OBGYN appointment,
Mm.
and I was flipping through a magazine while I was waiting for it to be called back. And I saw an ad that said naturopathic doctor. And I was like, what? A natural what? I've never even heard of this before. And so it was saying prevention. It was talking about diet and lifestyle. It was talking about natural medicine. And I was like, this is pretty cool. You know what? And so when I got home, I looked up the local, like a naturopathic doctor in my area. And I was like, hey, I saw this ad and this thing's really cool. Can I come to your office? Can I talk to you? Can I figure out what you do? Like, I think this is what I want to do in my life. And so she was like, of course. So I went to her
Wow.
office. We had a long conversation. I was like, this is what me and my husband have been trying to do. We've been making some changes, and I really feel like this is the route I want to do. She told me about the school in Arizona. I literally stopped applying for conventional medicine. I was a biologist at the CDC here. I quit my job.
Good for you.
And I applied for naturopathic medical school, and I moved my family from Atlanta to Arizona, 800 miles away from anybody that we even know. Our mine is in Illinois, my husband's is here in Florida. And so I dropped everything to follow this dream, this gut feeling that I was like, this is gotta work. I'm giving it all up because this is it. So I got there and never regretted my decision. Everything I learned resonated with my soul.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. There are a number of different services that you offer. Postpartum, fertility, pregnancy, women's health, pediatric. Um, One thing that you mentioned on your IG page is that you help moms restore balance. What do you mean by that? Help them restore
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah. So it's so huge.
Mhm.
Restoring balance when it comes to motherhood. Motherhood can have its ups and downs. You one minute you are crying, one minute you're on top of the world. And it can be very challenging as a new mom with a baby, and trying to take care of another human being while you're trying to heal yourself. And so I had my own personal struggles with postpartum with my first son. And I didn't have anybody to help me. Nobody diagnosed me with postpartum depression. I didn't even know I had it. I just knew I wasn't right. And so I suffered for a long time from that. And so that experience made me want to help other mothers
Mhm.
that are going through motherhood. And so restoring balance can be in the very beginning of motherhood, or it can be like when your child's 2 years old. And
Yeah.
sometimes you have all of these emotional things going on. Your hormones can be up and down. You could have nutritional deficiencies. It could be a long list of things. So
Mhm.
restoring balance so that you can be present and there for your family. Because a lot of times mothers don't have the support that they need when they have a baby. Everybody's like worried about the baby and then forget about the mom. And
Yeah.
so being that supportive person
Mhm.
to be able to listen to her story and to help whatever it is that she needs at that time. And a lot of times it's hormones. And it could be a variety of different things, but a lot of things.
Fertility. What about mothers or women out there who's hoping to be mothers, and they're having maybe some challenges with having a baby? Can you provide a definition around infertility? What does that actually mean?
Yes.
Mhm.
So infertility, by definition, would actually mean that you're unable to have a baby within a year. So, say you're trying, you
Mhm.
and your mate are trying, and within a year of trying, you're not able to have a baby. That, by definition, would be infertility. Okay.
Okay.
And
And
then,
mhm.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask if if what type of services do you provide on that end when it comes to infertility? If someone comes to you that who's maybe have tried a year or maybe even longer, and they still haven't gotten pregnant or still haven't had a successful pregnancy, what what is it that you may offer them in terms of services?
Have a fertility program.
Mhm.
And so, in the beginning, we detox both mom and dad.
Oh,
And
wow. Okay.
so that detox is about 2 weeks long. And so during that time, we clean up the foundations of health, which are making sure both parents are sleeping, making sure their diets are together. We actually do clean the liver, the digestive system, the kidneys, all of that stuff as well during the detox. Because depending on the diet and lifestyle of the parents, the environmental factors, that they're exposed to, those things play a role.
Yeah.
Some people
Mhm.
are more sensitive to those things and some people aren't. You may have somebody that's able to pop out a baby and not have any issues, but then you have someone else that's very sensitive to that. And then their body may need to be cleaned out. Both mom and dad, it's very important to do it as a unit because the baby's going to be half, genetic from mom and half from dad. So we
Absolutely.
generally
Yeah.
start off with a detox in my particular program. Like I said, the foundations of health, put them cleaning out kidney, liver, digestive system, all of that. Do a good clean of that stuff. And then after that, we put them on an actual protocol. Before that, I do run some lab tests to kind of see, is there anything that I'm picking up? Is there any inflammation in the body?
Mhm.
Is there any food sensitivities we need to look at? What are the hormones talking about? What's the egg quality? What's dad's sperm quality looking like? What's the testosterone level for dad? So there's so many things that you want to look at to try to find where is the issue. And so generally, if we look through all of those labs looking for, is there something that is a red flag? And typically the lenses that naturopathic doctors look through are a little bit different. So some of the things that I'm looking at may not be looked at by another fertility doctor. And sometimes it could be as simple as cleaning up a diet, putting them on the multivitamin and some other things, and they're okay.
Mhm.
And they may not need to go too extensive and spend lots of money. It really just depends. And sometimes it's super basic. And
Yeah.
that's also with many other conditions too. Sometimes it's just that one thing, like, you're not sleeping
Yeah.
or something. It can totally be that basic.
That that's
So,
so true. Insurance plans cover the types of services that you offer to women? And if not, um, what type of uh, plan um, uh, or how do you make your services available where it's affordable to mothers or mothers to be and so forth?
yes, so most insurances do not cover naturopathic doctors. And so that's a tricky question because it really depends on where you live.
Okay.
So, and it depends on if naturopathic doctors are licensed in that state. So
Okay.
here in Georgia, we are not licensed. We're not able to get a license in Georgia.
Okay.
That's a long story.
Oh.
But where I went to school,
Uh-huh.
Arizona, we are fully licensed there. We function as a primary care doctor, so we can
Mhm.
do pretty much anything.
Mhm.
There are a couple of barriers here in Georgia. So to make a long story short, no, we don't. Most naturopathic doctors won't take insurance here in Georgia, unless you are in a practice with a medical doctor or something like that.
Gotcha.
But as far as making the services available, so my particular practice, I have offered like payment plans,
Mhm.
case by case, things depending on the patient, depending on what's going on. But I do, like I said, I offer the payment plans and specific case by case situations depending on what's going on.
Okay.
But most people don't look at it like this, but it's actually a lot cheaper than a regular doctor. So
Mhm.
you're paying every month into an insurance plan, for example.
Mhm.
But if you were to calculate the cost,
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
really comes out a little bit cheaper in your pockets, but you're paying it all somewhat upfront, a little bit
Yeah.
more upfront than you are like on a weekly or biweekly basis.
Gotcha. And I think you said the key thing in the beginning of the interview where you say you actually get to the root cause of the problem. So you're not constantly going to the same doctor over and over again to try to solve the same issue that never gets a resolution. So that's the nice part about it.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes,
a very flourishing relationship between the doctor and patient. So that's something I
absolutely.
fully support. So before we go, it looks like that you do have a cookbook that you have available on your website. Can you talk a little bit about that? And I just also want to share, I just discovered my love of cooking because
Oh,
years prior, I was never in the kitchen, but now I'm always in the kitchen and I love to cook. And I just discovered this in the past 2 years with my love of cooking. So if you could just talk about that for a little bit.
yes, for sure. So, myself and colleagues got together. It was quarantine time and everybody was at home. And so we felt like, let's come up with a healthy cookbook. So when everyone's at home and cooking or trying to figure out what to eat for their family, let's come up with a cookbook with healthy recipes approved by naturopathic doctors. Um, and these particular recipes has pretty much any diet, whether you're vegan, a meat eater, pescatarian. There is a recipe in there for all diets, all nice and healthy, things that we cook in our own kitchens. As well as there's lots of health articles in the back. There's definitely something in there for new moms that I wrote myself and a lot of other health articles from different specialties from naturopathic doctors all over. So it was all of us naturopathic doctors and a couple of holistic health practitioners that came together to produce that book.
Okay. All right. Very good. And
Mhm.
so, Dr. Nelson, before we get out of here, if you could just maybe talk about the most rewarding aspect of what it is that you do, or the most challenging aspect of what is it that you do, or maybe a repetitive question that you get all the time, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
from patients.
Mhm. Yes, so rewarding. Yes, I absolutely love what I do. I think the most rewarding piece is seeing my patients get better,
Hmm.
being able to help someone who um, was dealing with what I was dealing with and
Yeah.
seeing them on the other side in a better place, confident, being able to be present in there for their families and just in a better space, helping patients get to their health goals and feeling much better from when they first saw me. So that is so amazing, being able to help patients feel better, and that I don't take that lightly.
Yeah.
I don't take that lightly at all. And so that would be probably the most rewarding thing. So the most challenging piece would be because we live in a microwave world and everyone wants things right, things to happen overnight. Educating patients that if you've had this for 20 years, it's going to take some time to kind of get to rebuild, to restore, and reverse
Hmm.
all that has been done. And
Yeah.
so sometimes patients want things to happen overnight. They kind of want to take a quick fix. They are kind of still in the mindset of a quick fix um, health, for lack of a better word, and being able to educate them. Now, there are some things that we can fix quick. Kids respond very quickly to things, but if you've had something, you've been dealing with something for years, it's like, okay, you got to give me some time to work with this. Okay, I've got to clean you up. I've got to rebuild you. I've got to restore you. I've got to reverse some damage. I've got some work to do on my hands. So you got to
That's
be
right.
patient with me. So
Mhm.
that can be very challenging because, like I said, everybody's down for a quick fix, overnight success. And so it doesn't always happen like that, depending on what we're dealing with. So
Okay.
that would be challenging, having to kind of reiterate that a lot.
Yeah, I can't imagine. So I would imagine the repetitive question would be, you know, so how much longer?
Yep, yep. That is for sure the repetitive question. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, Dr. Nelson, it was a pleasure to have you here. I really enjoyed our conversation. And so, what I will do is once I share the interview, I will also share your contact information so everyone will know how to get in touch with you and receive the services that you offer. Because as I understand it, I know you practice here in Georgia, but you do offer services online or virtually, correct?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
All right.
Well, thank
Okay.
you so much for having me on. I appreciate you inviting me on. And this talk was great.
It was. I thank you and I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you
Mhm.
soon.
Okay.